G'day guys, welcome to another episode of Ladies with Tradies, Working the Trade, Living the Life, Season 2 we're in now. So we've got a new slogan, which we're very excited about. Today I'm really pumped to welcome back to the Ladies with Tradies fold, not that they ever really left, but we've got the beautiful Jarrod and Bek McNamara from McNamara Security and Data. I'm always getting that wrong. It's a bit of a mouthful for me. Welcome, guys. Good to have you on the podcast.
Thanks, Kate.
Good to see you.
Yeah, you too. And it's always a pleasure to catch up. Now we do it socially much more than ever, which I love. So a bit of background from my perspective before I get Jarrod to talk a bit further with some info from Bek, I'm sure too. It's usually Bek's the person that does most of the talking, but we've got Jarrod with the main mic today. They are in separate locations, so if they talk over each other, we'll just get through that. So Bek and Jarrod have been around with Ladies with Tradies almost from the beginning. Bek started by coming to a session that we ran at the Bendigo Tennis Club quite a number of years ago, and really connected well, loved meeting Bek, and then she dragged good old Jarrod along and said, I think we need a bit of coaching. So I was very blessed and privileged to coach these guys for a few years, and they did a power of work and continue to do a power of work. They do their goal setting with us every now and then, but do it on their own as a rule. And that's why I got them on the podcast today to talk to you guys, because they've done some great things that I think everybody needs to hear about. So, Jarrod, tell us about MSD Security.
So MSD was established in 2010 as a sole trader. Very early days, one-man band based in Bendigo. We've slowly worked our way up over the years. We currently have 4 staff, and Bek and I both work full-time in the business as well. Our main business at the moment is custom security systems, building management systems, security, CCTV, access control, audio data. So bit of a broad range of different systems that all come together at the end. Yeah,
and I found it very intriguing always because, security and data is a little bit, it's a trade, of course, but a bit different to our general plumbers and sparkies. So it was always good fun to hear about all the weird and wonderful things and projects you guys are working on and understand. Well, I never really understood, let's face it, guys. But probably what
I understand myself. It's okay.
It's definitely ever-changing kind of industry, and it's a massive growth industry as well at the moment. And the way the systems work these days, it's the Internet of Things you might have heard of, but it's a lot of these things now all communicate with each other and integrate with each other. So the way the business is growing is to be able to work with all these products and make them all work together and come up with solutions for businesses to run their offices and protect their property and manage staff and all that sort of stuff. So it's sort of changed over the years from just putting in a camera system to actually helping other businesses as well.
It's pretty cool. It's been, it's always interesting to hear what direction things are going. So when it comes to you guys and the way that you set goals, what sort of processes do you go through or have you gone through now and in the past as far as getting on the same page and deciding where you're going at MSD?
So with the processes, what we've learnt over the last few years is tracking numbers and job times, materials, etc., is very important. It helps with forecasting as well, but to create the processes and make sure that we're getting the right results based on tracking those numbers, job times, etc.
Yeah.
You can come up with those processes to make sure you're achieving those goals, and that's probably the key things that I would say.
Yeah, so you track your business's performance and then set like your direction and the goals according to what you found out from the information.
That's right. And noting feedback from customers, good and bad feedback, asking for feedback, and as well as from the staff.
Yeah.
All of that stuff can help make those processes and make sure you head in the right direction.
Love that. So gathering feedback, staff and clients, and I don't know if there's anything there you want to add, Bek, as far as, how you kind of integrate into that process with Jarrod, or are you driving it, or how's that work?
Yeah, no, I think with overall with goal setting, I think we've learnt a lot of things with Ladies with Tradies around starting with the basics, like getting our systems in place, whether it's our job management software and our accounting software, to then be able to have everything streamlined and easily to understand for the staff as well. So, and our team. So, and also our customers. So that's a really important, they're really important tools that we've put in place that has made such a huge difference for everybody. And as far as then that enables us to set those goals with our team, whether it's around new products that, they need education on and they want to become certified in certain things, but also setting simple financial goals as far as our business goes, and, tracking, like Jarrod said, the time for our jobs, and also encouraging our staff to look at those and work with us to, streamline the process overall.
Love it. Love it. That's so cool. And you mentioned your staff a few times, and that's one thing that I've always been really impressed by you guys in that department, is the staff and culture, and you really work hard at keeping them involved in what you're doing and what you're getting up to. So how do you get your staff involved in supporting you to achieve your goals?
I would say there's a few ways, but one of them is team meetings, discussions on the direction of the business. We ask their opinions and ideas, including apprentices as well.
Yep.
Often you'll get a lot more information than you thought you might get by asking those questions, and it's often very helpful as well. We discuss their personal goals as well, and we'll have reviews with the staff and discuss the things that they want to achieve, and what makes them excited to come to work, and what makes them happy to come to work every day.
Yeah. Beautiful. So sorry mate, sorry to interrupt.
Sorry. And we did have a period there during COVID where we used innovation days as well, which was something that we found was very productive and actually made everybody think about what they wanted to get out of their future at working at MSD, and what also made us think about what we want to get out of it as well.
Love that. Anything more there, Bek?
I just the innovation days in particular, unfortunately, because we have grown and we're a bit time poor at the moment, they were a really good connection for the team to come together, which we found was fantastic for the guys, because they could then not only work on their relationships together and working together, it's also them for a learning experience as well, working with Jarrod too. That we are trying to incorporate that still, and also the importance of just toolbox meetings and things like that as well. although you do again get really busy, and it's one of those things that can easily fall to the wayside, it's just so important to keep those things in place, and just keep the communication open with your staff. So it's really important.
Love it, love it, love it. Yeah, and
Well,
there's almost a whole other podcast to talk to MSD about that stuff they just talked about that they've done with their staff, because they've done huge amounts of work with staff over the years. And I've got a couple more questions related to them, but we're never going to be able to fit it in alongside the goal setting thing, all the stuff that they've achieved with working with their staff. So that's been pretty cool to watch, guys. So with one of the things that you've worked really hard on is the standards that you set inside your business. So how do you go about working on these?
So as far as the trade goes, we're bound by Australian standards, which everybody learns about in their apprenticeships, the theory side of things. But there's a lot of on-site training that's a big part of it, and we will check, and myself especially will check on how the staff are doing certain things in their job, and then giving them positive feedback, negative feedback on what our expectation is and what the final product needs to look like. And a lot of times I'll say something like, if you wouldn't do it in your own house or your own business, we wouldn't do that for our client either. And we want to make sure that we're proud of the outcome of what we've done, and that we would be happy to take a photo of it and post it on our website or what have you. So that's probably, yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And so it's about sort of setting not just the standards that are imposed upon you from an industry perspective, but you've got some pretty solid standards as a business overall, and working on the rules that that everybody follows, and the non-negotiables and that type of thing. So yeah,
sorry,
you're right, go mate.
I was going to say, when early in the process, when we're having meetings and employing people, we talk about our core values of our business and my core personal values as well, to make sure that they are not conflicting, I guess, and that what we expect, the way we like to treat our clients and treat each other.
Yeah. So
that's a massive part.
Oh, for sure. I love that. So how do you work with your staff in achieving goals for your company? Like, give us some examples of how you've worked with staff to achieve goals and working to their behaviours, strengths, personalities, that kind of thing.
So I talked to Bek about this one before, and I was like, all right, I need some examples.
Yeah.
And I guess we ultimately define what the goal is and discuss how we might achieve it, whether it's as a team or with the supervisor on site. If we're trying to do something on a building site, as a long-term goal for the business. One that I thought was quite good with the staff had suggested that they wouldn't mind a 9-day fortnight.
Cool.
So that was something that obviously makes a difference in their lives outside of work. So that was a goal that we set to do at the start of this year, and we did have a few discussions and meetings about how we can achieve that and what it might look like, and we've trialed it, and it didn't quite work, but we haven't canned it. We've drawn it out to RDOs, and we will be with I think there's instead of fortnightly, it's monthly at the moment, with the goal to, once we get our staff level right, we'll be going back to that, and that's something that was really good. And it's a matter of setting that goal, and trialing it, and then
Getting
seeing how it goes, reviewing it. So we reviewed it, and then we just need to get our staff levels up, and then we can come back to it. So that works with the morale side of things too, I think, and work culture, that sort of stuff.
Love it. So it's a consultative process, really, it sounds like. Don't know if you got more thoughts there, Bek.
I think like even for the start of this year, on the very first day, we also set aside time to actually do one of the famous Kate Muldoon's whiteboard sessions with our staff so that we could, just talk about each other's strengths, what we each thought each other's strengths were. We have done personality profiles on all of our team, just to work. We like to try and work to their strengths as best that we can. And we that's when the 9-day fortnight suggestion did come out, which we do want to listen to the team and trial things and work with them on things. So that was something that they found would make a difference to them. So that's just an example of a goal for our team. But I guess again it just comes back to the communication with your team and allowing them to give them their opinion on things, and for us to take that on board, but also you've got to think about the business too and how that's going to work for the business. So that's why we've just reevaluated, and we'll go back to it once unfortunately we've got a couple of apprentices just need to come up a bit further, and then we'll be able to look at doing that 9-day fortnight. So
love that. Beautiful. Thanks, guys. So when you're deciding, it is sort of two prongs to this question. When you're deciding what they're going to be part of in your business, do you work to their strengths, or do you assess your own shortcomings or look at their skills? Like, how do you go about kind of navigating who does which bits?
I think one of the things earlier is defining the roles and responsibilities of the staff and ourselves as well, what our role and responsibility is, and figure out what can be delegated and then who it should go to, and then consider the individual skills of the team and talk about who might be interested in taking on those things, discuss as a team, and figure out maybe we might need some more people to take on roles, what have you.
And I've seen this with you guys over the years where you've gone, all right, Jarrod, you don't love being locked up quoting for hours and hours and hours on end, so you would work on somebody else in the business taking on some of that responsibility, and then you being the check-off point, or bookkeeping, and how we got that delegated off to somebody else who I'm guessing is still doing that for you, Bek.
Yes, she is doing a great job.
Yeah. So looking at those things. So that's where, and it's not necessarily, the word I used before is a shortcoming, wrong word really, isn't it? It's where have I got an aspiration, or what am I inspired by? And you guys did a lot of work and continue to do a lot of work on letting go of the stuff that doesn't float your boat.
Pretty much. And like you said about quoting, and in my mind, I'm like, who in their right mind would like doing quoting? But there's actually people out there who love numbers and love figuring those things out. And so that's something I've learnt over time, is that there's someone out there for everything. And just because you don't like it doesn't mean that it doesn't float someone else's boat. So that's where, if you talk about it, and if you've got people in your team that are interested in taking on more responsibility, and that's where the only way to do it is communicate and delegate.
I love that. And I just had a moment, a memory back in Bendigo when you were, I can't remember what street your first office was on, but I remember being in there, and we did a session with the team on strengths and opportunities, and it was so cool because it just became really clear where everybody in the team thought their strengths were, but also yours, Jarrod and Bek, and all of a sudden it just became so much easier for the delegation process to occur. And it was a bit of fun. There was a bit of shit poking going on that day too, which was good.
Yeah, and it's interesting hearing what other people think your strengths and weaknesses are when you don't necessarily think that about yourself. So it's good to be open to listen to other people's opinions, and it sort of helps you understand how to communicate with different people too.
Yeah. It was pretty good. Bek, your role over time has just evolved and shaped, and that was a fairly pivotal moment for you and your role too, I reckon.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, my role has definitely 100% developed over time and changed, and it is interesting reflecting back on those times when we did that meeting with the team, and it is confronting to sometimes realize what you're actually not that good at, and you really should let it go. Like it actually is for the best. Sometimes you think, well, yeah, I can do it, but should you be doing it? 9 times out of 10, you shouldn't be doing it. So, yeah, both Jarrod and my role has evolved over the time in the business. So, and it keeps evolving too. That's the thing. So, yeah, you've just got to be willing to change and work with your team and its strengths. So, yeah, unfortunately, there are people out there that like numbers, and it's certainly not me either. But yeah, once you find that person that can work in your team and loves numbers or whatever it might be, that it really helps you with your role though as well. So they really, I'm trying to think of the word and it's not coming to me, but
complement.
Yeah, complement. Thank you. They complement your role, and it actually is just, it's great when you find that right balance. So yeah.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. So you guys you've sort of almost answered a bit of my next question, which was around you working to your strengths as well. And that ebbs and flows, doesn't it? Because sometimes people come into your business and then sometimes people leave, and you guys have tried lots of different stuff as far as bringing in managers, elevating the profile of existing staff and getting them to come in and do some of the higher level administrative stuff. And how is that? So you said it's a bit confronting, Bek, and I think Jarrod would agree too, when we're looking to put people into roles because we're maybe not quite up to the task, or we hate it, to be frank. So tell me a bit about how that's helped you feel better in your business, Jarrod, by being a bit vulnerable and letting people in, because I think that's what people get scared of, and I think you were too at the start, if I reflect.
Well, yeah, I think a lot of business owners, and especially earlier in the piece, and you think nobody can do it as good as me, or nobody's going to be as passionate or do it the same as me. But often, again, they might not do it the same, they might do it better, or they might show you a different way of doing something. So it is sort of hard to let go of the reins a little bit sometimes, but when you do that, roles and responsibilities, and look at the things that are driving you crazy, or the things that you don't particularly need to be doing anymore, you can handball that onto somebody else and they might really take to it.
So Jarrod, how did you get through that feeling of, I don't know if I want people to know that information, or I'm scared to hand it over? Like, what was the driving force in the end, or did you find it easy?
I think once I again talked about it with a particular person or different people, that's probably the first one was just, I guess just ripping off a band-aid.
Yeah.
you do that and test the water, and then the more years, I guess the further along you go, that it's not as hard, and you sort of know, because when you see the results, you're like, oh, that's actually not so bad, and then you see that, well, I don't have to do that part anymore. It frees me up to do other things or have free time even occasionally.
Yeah. We often hear people say, oh, why didn't I do that earlier, when it comes to the delegation. Have you found that with some of your stuff, Bek, that you have handed off?
Oh, yeah. Yep, definitely. Why didn't we do that earlier? Well, yeah, it's the same. Yeah, with both of our roles, really. We just, because you know that one thing that you really don't want to do, and you just leave it and leave it and leave it. And then once you're able to delegate that off and it just gets done, you think, wow, I should have really done that way sooner. And unfortunately, just like anybody else, you have to learn it the hard way. So it's such a great thing to learn. And actually, it's really nice when you actually have each person in your business that's filling every piece of the puzzle, and I can just send that to them because they're going to sort it, because that's what they are good at and they like to do. So just let them do it. So yeah, it is hard to do sometimes, but when you've got a really strong team, it just works well. So
yeah, and it's the trust, I think, too. You've got to kind of go, oh, all right, I've just got to trust that I have to let this person have a crack, or I've just got to trust that this is the right thing for the business. And like you said, Jarrod, putting people that are often better than you in the seat that you once occupied. I was just saying to a group of tradies the other week, sometimes I think, geez, it's bloody rude, isn't it, when you're not needed anymore in some things. It's a little bit of a, wears on the ego a little bit, is the way I describe it, because all of a sudden the things that you're like, oh, everybody needs me to do that, I'm super important and I have to get all those things done, and somebody comes in and just does it really easily and really smoothly and on time and to the letter, and you're like, okay, all right, fair enough. It's a funny thing. Mm-hmm.
And they make it look easy.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
And you're like, bugger me, there is someone out there for that role.
That's right. Absolutely. That's right. So tell us a bit about and this one wasn't on the script. Sorry, I'm just going to drop it on yours. If you look back, say 4 years ago, 5 years ago, and reflect on where you are now, as far as kind of setting goals and leveraging your team, which is mostly what today's chat's been about, what do you think's been the most impactful change that you've made? I'll let you have one thing each. What's been the most impactful thing that you've done or change that you've made to get to where you are?
For me, it is probably getting the staff and getting more staff to do those roles, I think.
So what in particular, because I think this is important for people to hear, because there's certainly the quoting element, I think, has been a big thing for you, Jarrod.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the tradies would know what I'm saying about when you get home from work and you just sit down and start doing quoting, and then you're like, now I've got to do invoicing, and then next thing it's 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you're up at 6 and you're off again, and that's the stuff that eventually just wears you down and makes you go, what am I doing it for? And getting those staff in makes all the difference. Or even just probably making time, or stopping to smell the roses, and it's all still going to be there the next day. But when it builds up and builds up, that's when you And again, that's one of the reasons we rang you as well, is because we were at that point we needed some guidance. So
I love that. That's huge. That's two big excellent bits of advice there, Jarrod. You know, get the people in so that you're not doing the stuff until all hours of the morning and just slowing down and
get your life back.
Yeah, get your life back. Big time. I love that.
Mm.
What about for you, Beck?
So look, I would say definitely one of the biggest things that helped us sort of grow MSD and develop and really try and put some good structure in place to help us with the business is really working with Ladies with Tradies is definitely the turning point, I think, for us, because not only did we learn some fantastic skills working with you guys, but we've also developed such great relationships with other people in business as well. And it's so nice and refreshing to have those friendships with other people in business, because you understand each other and you can also bounce ideas off each other. And it's just, it's really nice when you've got that around you. And, it definitely was a turning point for us, that's for sure. And it's just really helped us to grow MSD to where it is.
Love it. And, massive credit to you guys for, the continuous want to improve. Every chat that we have now, so like socially, it's you're filling me in on, we're like Jarrod, last time we chatted, you were like, we're doing this and we've changed this and we're getting this happening and that happening. And it just makes my heart sing, because you guys just continue to keep doing this stuff, doing the things that improve your business. It's the 1%ers. You've been around for quite some time as a business, but you're still always striving. You haven't got complacent ever. There's no level of it in you guys ever. And that's impressive, to be sustaining that level of want and wish for it to get that little bit better and a little bit better all the time. So that's a credit to you. And, we can't go away without mentioning the trophy from last year. Was that last year? Yeah. These guys won what was it? Business Excellence Awards in Bendigo. And tell us the category that you won, guys.
Beck, I believe that was your award.
The Trade Services of Excellence Award. We were the successful winners for that one for 2022. So that was exciting. For me, the biggest part of applying and being a part of that process was the security, being a security technician, and the security industry is not really seen as a trade necessarily. And it's a trade that I feel that should be promoted and should be celebrated, because it's just like any other trade, like all those tradies out there. And it was just an acknowledgement for not only our business, but also all of our team that works so hard as well. And it was really exciting to win that. Of course, we had to be the first to be presented on the night, so I didn't have anyone else's speech to compare to. So that was a bit nerve-wracking for me, but it was a very, very nice achievement for us, and it was a nice moment for our business.
It was amazing. Josie and I had the privilege of being invited and sitting with these guys, and I'll never forget looking around at your parents and how proud they were that night, and just the beaming faces, the tears in the eyes. I mean, we're all tears in our eyes, because we're talking about a lot of the highlights here, but it's been friggin' hard at times for you guys too. You suffered through COVID like a lot of businesses. You've got a young family too. We haven't even mentioned the kiddos who have been always in the background, you know, and part of the business too. I remember lots of them being on the screen throughout coaching and popping their heads in and getting to, not to mention the fur children, Archie, the Cavalier, etc. So yeah, you guys should be so proud, and I was really so thrilled for you guys to win that award. It was so well deserved, and your application was incredible, and it was a great, I think, for anybody out there who's considering applying for any awards, you absolutely should, because B, you get to reflect and you get to really think about what you've achieved as a business overall. And it was beautiful to, you know, Bek sent it over. Oh, can you have a look at this? And I didn't have to do anything. I just went, mate, it's fucking awesome. Like, just send it in. Hit send. It's so good. Because Bek's very eloquent, isn't she, Jarrod? She's got it happening.
I'm going to say yes.
Yes, is the correct answer. We have you guys can't see, obviously, because this is a podcast, but we've got this in-joke about Bek being the boss, and her Zoom name is Bek's the Boss right now. So it's always a bit of fun in the coaching process, and now in our friendship, that Bek's the boss and she loves a trophy. So you guys are just an awesome team, and yeah, it's just a pleasure and a privilege now to continue our friendship as well, and watch you just keep doing what you're doing, whatever that is, moving into the future, because it's about making yourselves happy, and you know, you guys have worked really hard on that family side and commitment to yourselves over the years that we've had the pleasure of hanging out with you. So, any last pearls of wisdom, guys? I love this bit. It's a bit of the open mic. I'm not going to interrogate you with a question, but is there anything else that you think's good for people to know out there?
Yeah, well, I had a bit of a think about this one, and I've got a couple of key points, and one is know your strengths and know your worth. Yeah. Be honest and honourable in business.
Yeah.
I think people respect honesty even when it hurts.
Yes.
And work with people who show you the same respect that you show them.
Wow.
So that's...
Well, there's some mic drops, Bek. Good luck following that one up.
Yeah, Jarrod actually thought about those. I haven't really. Pearls of wisdom, hey?
I think it's important
to
have those. They're like some key things, so that's why I said those things, because I think they're very important. So
they are. They're so. That's why I said, "Oh, good luck, Bek," because you're not going to be able to beat those.
No, probably not. No. Can we just talk about the trophy again? I'll talk about that. No.
And drink coffee.
Drink coffee.
Oh yeah, drink coffee.
Always coffee at MSD. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Pearls of wisdom. No, I think it's like. Yeah, we have a young family as well. So as a lot of tradies do in business. So, which we sort of, I guess we didn't really talk a lot about that, but, you know, all of this is about trying to make life easier, I guess. The work-life balance, it's always a challenge. It'll never not be a challenge, but you've just got to, so it is really important, I think, to stop and reflect and think, how far have I come, and look at all the great things that we've done and what we're achieving, and just really acknowledge that, because sometimes you just get so caught up in your own world, even because you're busy with family and just everything, that, yeah, you just really need to stop and reflect and just realise that, yeah, you're doing a good job, and every day will be what it is, and just keep going. So, yeah, that's my pearl of wisdom, I suppose.
Thanks, mate. I love that. So good. And
That's
yeah,
a good one.
It was. You're both champions. Thank you so much. It's been such a good time recording this with you both. And now we've got, you know, just a little bit more memorabilia, along with some random photos and all sorts of fun stuff that we've done on Christmas parties and outside of that. This is just another thing to add, and yeah, to recognise you guys for the great stuff that you've been able to achieve in business. So thanks so much for hanging out with me, guys, and we'll see you soon.
No worries. Thanks, Kate.